My name is Neha Pasi. I'm a lead technical consultant against Sitecore 10 certified developers with over 5 years of experience working on this platform. So before we start with the actual agenda, walk down the memory lane for Sitecore. So Sitecore, as we all know, is one of the leading composable DXP platform which is leading the CMS market for over 2 decades now. Starting as a CMS only platform, it has expanded in its product as it added features like personalization, analytics, automation, customer data management, commerce, etc. into its rich set of features. It would be correct to say that Sitecore in its offerings has evolved as the user experience of consuming and interacting with data online has grown Earlier, companies and brands used to have websites just to have an online presence a few years back, but they have eventually moved their focus to having websites that drive businesses and of course lead to revenue. And this fact in itself highlights the importance of having incredible digital experiences for the user.
And the journey for e-commerce website has not been any different. It has changed how businesses sell their product, whether small or big. A strong online presence with a robust website that provides the experience that exceeds consumer expectation is needed everywhere. Just selling the product is not enough nowadays. Selling it right is the goal. After pandemic, online stores has kind of garnered a huge amount of consumers, which is kind of opportunity, challenge and competition for each brands at same time. Opportunity to scale, challenge to maintain their consumers, and then competition to stand out. Like almost every e-commerce experience, starting with almost kind of 93% of e-commerce experience that starts with search, we all can understand how crucial a good search for e-commerce website is. It is just not a box to tick for online stores. This is where 2 of our Sitecore products come into picture. Although Sitecore is known for its CMS and related product, these 2 products in green colored hexagon present in Commerce Cloud in its SaaS based DXP can cater to any B2X customers in its probably composable way. We are very excited, and we are pretty sure that you all are excited about learning about its product discovery platform Discover today, and we are thrilled to have you here. As we all know, yesterday we have few incredible sessions about Sitecore Discover. Our session is kind of different in a way that we are going to completely provide you A to Z of Discover in this session, and we can guarantee that you all at the end of this session will be aware about what your Discover site can do to your customer's website, or like what Discover can do to your customer's website and about its integration methods.
So with that promise or guarantee, here we start. So Sitecore Discover is a powerful AI driven product discovery platform which has proven to lift sales and increase revenue. So it lets marketers and merchandisers create amazing digital experiences through the rich set of features that it offers. It has, like I mentioned, it has proven to lift sales in the sense whenever a customer visits a Discover powered page or a website, it is so intelligent that it identifies the customer's buying intent. Identifying the customer's buying intent, it knows that what the customer is looking for, and then it will accordingly place the products on the website so that he gets the personalized search results and will have guided navigation as well. It is completely e-commerce platform agnostic, meaning you can integrate this product with any of the e-commerce platforms, not just with the Sitecore one. So if your website's on Order Cloud, which is Sitecore, Magento, Shopify, etc., you can integrate it with that. And of course, it's a purely headless solution. With that, customers or websites that have Sitecore integrated with them. So what it does, it improves the search experience as mentioned, it drives product discovery on each step of the buying journey on every page load. The second one is that it displays product intelligently as it identifies the customer's buying intent. It delivers personalized recommendation by visitor type. So when there's personalization, there's also visitor type. He identifies from the customers, from the visitors' rich set of data that it stores and offers personalized recommendations. Then it has the features to cross-sell or upsell products your shoppers will want. So merchandisers, marketers or the store owners can use this product to cross-sell and upsell products by placing products on the cart pages and the order confirmation pages, which is the customer likely to buy. And then we have add product recommendations to email campaigns. It also personalizes, sorry, this is flickering a bit. So it also personalizes the way you send emails to your customers, the way you run email campaigns. So this was about what Discover is and what it does. Next, it's for Mahima to take features and functionalities.
Okay, so from last couple of minutes, we were looking about what Discover offers. Now let's look at the key features and functionality that it provides. The first two that come into picture is product profile and user profile. So both of these profiles sit at the core of this particular product or platform, we can say. The name is quite intuitive for all of us to understand. Product profile basically stores information about product, such as its attributes and values like product name, product price, product size, its related product, KPI products, etc. All of this information is managed via product feed. The next one comes is user profile. User profile stores the data related to users. So whenever user interact with any website having discovered Power Pages, a new user profile gets created. That particular user profile has basically Discover enhance it and maintain it by adding appropriate data as per user behavior into backend system so that they can offer a better personalization to each and every consumer. The next is natural language processing. As we know, Discover is AI powered. It supports natural language processing into its query. Natural language programming basically means that it understands human language to an extent and provides the result accordingly, which means if there is a Discover integrated on some website, I can search complete phrases like I'm looking for running shoes for a woman, or I'm looking for running shoes for men, and some typical keywords like above and inside, etc. The next feature is buy online pickup in store feature. So in short, what I can tell about this is you can leverage this feature using Discover by just maintaining region specific feed or store specific feeds. The next is time product availability. As the name says, you can time your product releases. It means that your product will not get displayed onto your website until it is launched. The next is multi-local account solution. So like if there are customers and brands which have multi-currency and multilingual stores, Discover provides them the feature wherein they can serve user specific or region specific data. The last two features that makes Discover stand out is its B2B support and fitment. These were the features, and next we are going to look about the services that Discover has. The first one is search and recommendation service. So search and recommendation service provides AI based search and recommendation results for your product. It kind of honors all the rules that you specify in Discover console, which is synonym rule, redirect rule, boost and bury rules. You can use search in recommendation service in product detail page like product landing, product listing, your home page to display. You may also like product or co-bought product or frequently bought products. The next is event service. As the name suggests, event service used to process the data and kind of capture the data that Discover in turn uses to provide personalized user behavior. Whenever a user starts interacting with a website, Basically, like if he clicks on a page or clicks on a button, opens a product detail page, add product to cart or wish list or checks out, this information gets created, and this information in the form of data gets submitted to event service, and Discover uses it for further uses. The next is promotional email recommendation services. So Discover provides us the easiest way to run email campaigns. You can personalize each and every email. Like you can, being a merchandiser can personalize the content that will get displayed to user, but at the back end it uses artificial intelligence and recipes which will considers each user behavior, that what kind of product he is searching for, what kind of product he is adding to the cart or wish list, and then each email that will get sent to that customer will be the related products. The last one is data feed service. This particular service processes the feed that we send to SFTP, like we create 2 feeds, product detail and catalog feed, that we send to SFTP, and then it will get like data feed service uses this, process this and send it back to Discover systems. Can you change next slide? Thank you. So these were all about the features and functionalities that Discover can offer. Now in short, let's look at the core capabilities. So these are the core capabilities which basically Discover provides, and behind that we have already seen what services gets used. So as already shared, recommendation. So recommendation engine or product recommendation, it uses widgets to display content into your website, and it also depends on the rules that you set on those particular widgets. The next one is catalog search. So catalog search lets a merchandiser create a personalized experience for every consumer, and you can use basically search result widget and preview search in order to leverage that. Next is personalized email. As we have already discussed, that you can send personalized email to each and every customer. Content service is also known as content as service. So merchandisers can use content widget to insert content into your website where you want. It's just not display only product. You can add any rich content, and you can basically create a rich experience for each user by adding banners, CTAs, any HTML, any styling you want.
Now that we all know about what Discover can do and its core capabilities and how it can boost your businesses, and you think of suggesting it for your clients, so you also, like the developers here, also need to know that what is the integration process and how you get started. So this next 5 minutes we would be looking at a typical onboarding journey, and it can be broken down into 3 steps. So the first one is setting up your Discover account. So all of these things that we would be looking at now would be done by the Sitecore team. So whenever you contact Sitecore, a Sitecore personnel will be assigned to you, and the first thing that he would do is create a subscription plan for you according to your requirements. So you need a few features and all of that stuff, so that will be covered in here. A subscription plan will be in place. After that, you will get access to the CEC, which is the Customer Engagement Console. We have seen we have seen demos about Customer Engagement Console yesterday as well, and it is in search and other Sitecore products as well. It is the same, but with the different features, which we would be looking at in the later section of the session. And then the third point is other user account creation. So after this is done, you would be asked to provide a list of users who would be accessing the CEC. So their account setup work will also be done by the Sitecore team or the Sitecore personnel that is assigned to you. Next comes the important step of choosing and implementing a domain delegation strategy. This is imperative and critical, as it will decide how you would be accessing Discover services and how Discover will track visitors on your website. So there are 2 options available for that. One is the subdomain delegation, the other one is CNAME delegation. The examples of how these domain names would look like are in here. When you have subdomain delegation, you would have your subdomain there, and also in CNAME it would be attached with a CNAME. So after you decide and tell them what your chosen method is, they will do the necessary settings at the discover's end, and they will share CNAMEs in the case of CNAME delegation and name server details in the subdomain delegation. And you will have to do the next step, which is like adding these details into the DNS service provider of yours and finish up the process of like integration for both the systems to interact with each other. Then comes the final part and the important part, which is everything is important. All of these 3 steps are important. But this one is critical because it is preparing and uploading your data. Now, this is the step wherein you would feed data into Discover. This is where Discover will get to know about your products, your categories and everything. So, this is achieved by essentially adding 2 feeds. The first one is the product feed, no explanation needed. What will it contain? If I can know how is our audience awake or listening, what will a product feed contain? Yeah, exactly, correct. So the product feed is for the products, and the category feed will have details about the, exactly. So yeah, so these 2 feeds will be uploaded. This would be the full feeds that you will be uploading. After that, there are 2 other types of feeds that you can upload. The one is the sales feed. As everything is here quite intuitive, if you hear that word, you can understand what it might contain. So the sales feed will have the historical data or the sales data of your website that would give Discover with a head start to understand the best selling products or frequently bought products or the products that your customers usually buy. And then we have the second type of feed, which is the fitment feed. So what are fitments? So if you're not selling a product but you're selling the parts of it, then there are fitments. So if you have any such products on your website, you are to put those details into this feed and supply it to Discover. So all of these feeds can be uploaded not just once again. You would be supplying product feed and category feed in intervals of like minimum 1 day so that you keep the data updated, and then you'll set a cadence of the full feed uploads. And in between, if you want to update the product and category data with some real-time information like the inventory details or the price and etc., you can do so by using the incremental feed API which Sitecore Discover provides, which would update your data interim. So yeah, these were the 3 steps. Now you're done with your integration and you can start, setup. Now you can start with the integration with the chosen integration method. Before we look at the integration methods, we should look at customer engagement console. If you can excuse me for a minute, I'm going to take a sip of water. So we've heard about the customer engagement console being mentioned a couple of times or more than that. So let's look at what that is. This is for the business users, marketers and merchandisers, the topics that we would cover in this section, meaning these things would be mainly used by these users that you see on the screen. So the customer engagement console, if I can brief you about it, is a SaaS workbench, and this is a single point of interaction for all of the people who would be working with Discover. So the first one, like we said, we would be looking at the functional areas. So the first functional area or the first tab that you would see, or the first page, is the site performance page. As soon as you log in into CEC, you would be landed here. You will land here. So what is this? What does this tab show? It shows the data of your site's performance. I guess this is not very clear, but I'll explain it to you. So the first 2 rows that you see, okay. So the first 2 rows that you see after site performance gives you an extensive list of filters that you can make use to filter out the data. The filters range from time period, app type, channel, visitor type, etc. to even the countries. Then after that, if you see, the next row consists of a few numbers. So these numbers show details or the counts of like visits, page views, average order value, etc., etc. And also this page offers 2 kinds of reports that you can see, or like graphs, which are overall comparative metrics. This one that you see in here, This is the overall comparative metrics. It is very small, but you have two drop downs in here where you can select different type of metrics to have a comparative analysis of them, and then begin the engagement reports, overall engagement, preview search engagement, etc. And then we have pages. Okay, so Discover makes use of pages and widgets extensively, or it is the way it provides search and recommendation. So the first one is pages. What are pages? Pages do not do anything on their own, but they are just container of widgets, which we will look into the next section. Everything is interrelated here. So pages, and this section that you see lists down all the pages that we have in this Discover product integration. So you can see there are no results page, search page, all of these pages, and if you have to create a new page, which is very, unlikely you would be creating new pages just for your campaigns and promotions, so you can do so from here. And Discover offers 3 page types. So the first one is product detail pages, product listing pages, landing pages. Typically these pages would be created for you by the Sitecore integration team or automatically created. So the product detail pages are for the details of a single product. And then the product listing pages are for the products of a single category. You can also, one point that we should note in here is that these category pages will be created automatically when Discover will process your product and category feeds by mapping it to the corresponding URLs. So you will not be creating, suppose you have hundreds of categories, you won't sit and create those pages yourself. Discover does it for you by mapping the URL. And you can also have these pages wherein you will show data of or products of multiple categories as well. And the last one is the landing page. This is the type of page that you are likely to create, as in you have a promotion to run, you have a campaign to run. So this is the page type that you will use to create, wherein you can add a lot of things like a collection of products, widgets, content using the different widget types. So these were the page types, and as I mentioned that the integration team creates pages for you during the onboarding. So there are a typical, we would be looking at a few of them. There might be more, but the ones that we would be covering and the ones that you should know is the first one is the home page. So of course, home page is for the home page of your website. It will contain widgets like the suggestion widgets, recommendation widgets. You can also have content widgets. The next one is the search results page for the search landing. Like you enter a keyword in the search website, search bar of your website and hit enter. This would be the page that will be shown. And then we have the not found page. The 404 page, whenever a user accesses a URL that is not available, it will 404 and will display this page. And then no results, you enter a search query, you see no results, this is the page that you will see. And then there are order confirmation and cart pages according to the process of your checkout. There might be other pages, but this is a list of a few of them. Next functional area or the next topic that we would look at is the widgets. As mentioned, that these widgets, pages are container of widgets. One thing to mention is that pages do not do, like I mentioned, pages do not do anything more on their own. So these widgets, when added onto that page, take the page as the context. So if you have a recommendation widget which shows the best selling products of a category onto a category page, so that category page acts as the context for that widget, and it will then use it to show data. So the widgets, this list, if you see, again similar to pages, here you have all the types of widgets that are in this Discover integration, and this is where you see an option to add the widget. And we would look at the few steps that are involved in adding a widget verbally, and that will correspond to all the columns that you see in here. So whenever you add a new widget, you would of course specify a name that will be shown in the first column, and then you select a type. So like page types, we have widget types. The next topic is that one. And variations is like the default, every widget has a default variation. So the count is 1, but you can create multiple variations of it. And the important one that you should all know is the RFK ID that you see in this column, blurred for like privacy purposes. So the RFK ID is a unique ID, identifier of your widget, which will be used by your integration methods if you are accessing that using APIs. So this is how you will identify the widgets and access them and put it onto your websites, and the rest. And also, yeah, one more column is the pages. If you want a widget to be displayed onto a certain page that you have created, you can also do that. Rest of the 3 columns here are for statistics data like status, last modified and modified by. So let's look at the widget types. There are 7 in total, but we would be looking at 3 because they are the ones important for our session and you should know about it. So preview search. So whenever you enter any keyword in the search box of your website, the suggestions that you see that come from the preview search widget. Yes, I guess no explanation is no more explanation needed there. Then is the search results widget, which would use the search query to curate the products that it would display in this widget. And then we have the recommendation widget. As the name suggests, this is the widget that is responsible for adding personalized experiences into your website. And then we have, then Mahima also talked about you can add content. So you can do so by using banner and HTML block. And then we have SEO and email recommendation for your email campaigns or personalized emails. Now a brief overview of the widgets. We saw about the variations column in the previous slide screenshot. So we would be talking about variations. So whenever you create a new widget, there's always a default variation for that. But if in case you want to enhance or modify the data or how it displays your products, you can do so by creating multiple variations of it. So can have more than one default variation, and when you have multiple variations of a certain thing, you would want to know that which one is performing better or which one you should use. So you can do so by running A/B testing or split testing on those variations. And these variations have like to redefine or refine the product recommendations that it shows. It makes use of rules. Rules includes context, merchandising and settings. All of these things are more related to the attribute rules that you define, like you want, there's a category attribute, you want to sort or apply a rule according to that. And then you can pin, boost, bury and blacklist products. Pin, if you want to pin a product, like you want it to show into the first 2 places of few products, you can do so. Boost, you want to, whenever a search is performed, you want certain products to appear in the first top, you can do so by that. Bury and blacklist would be the same. You want to bury a product down and do the search results, and blacklist, not show it again onto the website, so that blacklist is for that. So these rules, like we saw, there are 7 different type of widgets. So for the recommendation type of widgets, which are recommendation widgets and email recommendations, you would be making use of recipes. I guess we have seen a couple of sessions wherein they talked about recipes as something as simple to as some ingredients which would define how something would be performed. So recipes are simple AI driven algorithms, and Sitecore provides, or Discover provides, a rich set of recipe library. It keeps on updating that, so you will not have to create it as such, but just in case you want to create a recipe of your own, you can do so. And yeah, recipes can be custom tailored. And like I mentioned, these are only available for the recommendation widget types. With that, that was about pages and widgets. Hope we are on track. You all are up with us. So next one is the analytics tab. If I look at the time, we just left with, I guess, 27 minutes, so I need to rush up. We have a lot of other details to cover. So the analytics tab shows, so if you want to check how something is performed, how a page is performed, how a widget is performed, how a keyword, if you can see these options, how products you want to test, and how some email promotion is performed, this is where you'll come and see. If you can see, it performs like, it gives you so much of data that you can make use. I don't know if this would be useful for us developers, but definitely for the marketers and merchandisers to understand how their campaigns are going. So yeah, and it also provides a list of extensive filters for you to filter out your reports and extract them. And next up, there's the global resources section. As the name suggests, global resources will have rules and assets that would be applied across your product, across all the pages or all the things that Discover has. So the first one is the global widget section. We saw about widgets. So global widget is important, as in every other widget or every new widget that you create would inherit from this one. So global widget also has a default variation wherein you apply rules. So the rules that you're applying to the default variation of the widget will get applied to your custom widgets that you create, and this is available here. And then we have recipes. So I talked about an extensive recipe library that Sitecore provides. So this is where it is all stored, and in here only you'll get the option to create your custom recipes. Then we have synonyms. Synonyms are like semantic relationships between keywords, like sofa and sofas can mean the same. You can do so. You can establish one-way or two-way relationships between these synonyms. Then we have two other things: the domain settings of your domain, like your account and the domain that you've set up, and notifications is the other one. Then we have catalog. Like we all understand what a catalog is. So the product feeds, the category feeds, and the user data that Discover collects over the period of time by tracking your website, everything is stored in here. So all the users, like you as developers, also have access to this one. So developers, merchandisers, marketers can come and work with this data. I guess you do not edit this, you don't get a chance to edit this, but you can view, work, or browse if you want to check. Like we have done this, we want to see how a user is interacting with the website, so you can find it by using a unique identifier like an email. And yeah, that is about, we would be talking about. And the next one and the last part of my addressal would be the administration window, which would give you access to the administrative tools. So the type of options that you see in here will be dependent on the type of access that you have. And like we talked about all the users that you would be creating, so you would not give every user all the access or the administrative access. So right now we see manage users, which lets the person who has this account, he will be able to manage the user data, and then the offline data is some other type of data. So one thing that we all should be aware, or anybody using this particular administrative tool should be careful about, is that here they will be seeing the data or the configurations or setting that drive your CEC and that define your integration are stored in here. So please be careful while editing that. With that, I guess I come to an end, and now we will see about the integration methods.
Okay, thank you, Neha. So I believe till now we have covered everything that as a developer, as a marketer, you should be knowing what Discover offers, what Discover provide. You can correlate what your customer need, and you can propose them the solution. So as you know what Discover offers, there are different integration methods that Discover offers too. So you have to decide that which integration method is best suited as per the requirement. If we count all the integration method that are and has been available from Discover end, they'll sum up to 4. So those 4 are hosted page, second one is runtime JavaScript, third one is SDK, JavaScript SDK, and the last one is API integration. Although the first two, like hosted pages and JavaScript runtime, has been deprecated by Sitecore early this year, however, they are still providing support to the customers who are using those integration methods. So let's look into brief about those integration methods. First one is hosted page. As the name suggests, the pages and widgets are hosted at Sitecore end and get served from there. Whenever a particular user access the page which is Discovered part, the request will get sent to Discover and it will get served from there. So in order to accomplish this, a particular merchandiser or as a developer, we have to make sure that we create all of the URL strategies and provide it to Discover. We also have to make sure that we provide templates for all the HTML structure so that Discover know how the page structure will be, what kind of header and footer should be present and everything. The next one, in order to provide a seamless transition for your end user, you have to do the CDN configuration so that you can redirect all of your traffic of PDP, PLPs to Discover hosted pages. This particular, as the pages are already hosted at Sitecore end, it does not require any development need. but it also does not provide all of the on-site experiences, and you cannot have control on user experiences of the site. The next one is JS runtime. In this particular integration method, there are inbuilt JavaScript widgets that gets attached to your particular page wherever you need it, and wherever a placeholder tag is in is in focus. So this particular integration method uses Beacon. Let me give you a short description about Beacon. Beacon is particular a single line JavaScript that you need to integrate into your website. It is hosted by Sitecore Discover, and this Beacon integrates analytics and personalization by automating many tasks that lets Discover work as intended. So this particular Beacon used to identify where the placeholder is and initialize the widget component or widget data at that particular place. Same as Notice page, this does not require development work. You do not get all of the on-site experiences as compared to the rest of integration methods that I am going to discuss. And the last, you do not have all of the experience design control, as this is also kind of mostly managed by Sitecore. The next one that I am going to discuss, which Sitecore recently released, is Sitecore JS SDK, like for JS SDK for React. It is built on React, so it can be used on React library projects such as React and Next.js. This is the fastest integration method that Discover provide. So it has two packages, which basically contains these two NPM packages, contain different components, functions, query hooks that you can call, and you can rapidly, like front-end developer is only needed, and they can rapidly integrate the Discover experiences such as search and recommendation and preview search, everything into your website or your application. Then okay, so the next one is at compile time, this particular SDK gets integrated into your browser application, and during runtime it accesses all the built-in methods to basically call the Discover APIs. This particular method and the next that I am going to discuss, which is API integration, both uses API calling at backend. This we have to intervene, developer has to work, developer has to do the integration, but most of the things are already built in SDK, so not much you have to do, and it is very rapid to integrate. It provides all of the control on user experience because it's basically your site and you are just using APIs to call and display the data from Discover. All of the configuration that we need is stored at CEC, that is Customer Engagement Console. So whenever a user requests a Discover API, that particular response that has been provided uses the configuration which is stored at CEC, and it also depends on what rules are applied on that widget which is getting displayed. This is all about JS SDK. Next, if we move to API integration, as the name suggests, you have APIs, you have to integrate. You can use .NET API integration method, you can just call those APIs and you can integrate into your website. We know that Discover is headless, SaaS based. It provides multiple APIs that you can integrate. So there are two APIs that are mainly, it provides a search and recommendation API and event API, which I have already shared with you, and we can directly call these APIs, and the backend uses the service that Discover provides, and in response gives us a result which is really personalized and user specific. It is completely developer centric approach, and because this is all of the development is needed by your end, and it provides all of the user experience control because it's your site, your hosting pages, your hosting widget, you know where to place the widget, you know which page will be rendering Discover data and everything. So let's look at what we'll be using while integrating. If we choose whether SDK integration or whether API integration, these are the tabs mostly at most that we'll be using as a developer. The first tab in developer resource is API access. This particular tab provides multiple information which is crucial for customer, like customer key, beacon that we have already discussed, different API hosts like authentication API, search and recommendation API, event API, and also incremental feed API. In case you went with the hosted pages, it will also show you CDN configurations. The next tab is API Explorer. So, yeah, we know that we get the documentation how to integrate the APIs while we go with this particular integration method, but this is the easiest way wherein you can actually build the API call you want. It has 3 panes. Builder pane, request pane and response pane. In builder pane, you can select all the different permutation and combination you want, the page you want to select, the URL of the page that will be requested, like some sofa category pages from living room, you will add it into URI, you will select product listing page, you will select the widget, whether a single widget data you need or you need all the widget data to get displayed. You will add different facets and filter, you just click on build. It will create a request in JSON format. It will also share if there is any error or warnings into that particular JSON, but still Discover API tries to execute irrespective of that error and tries to provide you the best possible result. And in response pane, you will get all the response that you will be receiving when you will be calling actual Discover API while integration. So, you can get how you can create a particular mapping, what kind of classes will be there, what kind of properties available will be available into that response, and then you can integrate into your code. The next is event builder. So, as we know that events get tracked as per the user behavior, event builder helps us to basically try and build and test all of the events and push it to Discover. It provides 2 types of API, so it depends on integration method. If you go with hosted page, you have to use rfk.push to basically build that event. You have to use REST API in case of REST API integration. It provides you 2 type of events, widget event and non-widget event. So, that you can create in here. So, widget event is something like you visit a page, you add to cart, these are kind of widget funnel events, and non-widget events are a user login from somewhere else. So, those are kind of non-widget events. Same as API Explorer, this also have 3 panes. You just build according to your request, the event will get created and response will be written from Discover. The next is event monitor. So, if you want to track, like you have set up API integration, you have set up GTM, you are adding events, you are doing everything, but you need to make sure that events that you are triggering are basically how they are getting sent, or even if they are getting sent to Discover properly or not, in a proper format or not. So, event monitor helps us to check that. You need UUID to check if events are getting tracked or not. What is UUID? UUID is basically universal unique identifier, which is unique for all the customers, all the end users of website. There are different ways that you can retrieve UUID of any particular end user. You can just click on this button, get my UUID, and it will open the environment that you are using, like your staging environment, production environment. It will open that website, and this particular text box will automatically get filled with the UUID. You can also go to your website, you can like do the inspect and find the UUID of that particular user. Once you add the UUID and you start monitoring, it will provide you different cards, different information card about event resolution, event validation, all of the events that are getting monitored, like you are going to the website, you are doing different actions like a normal consumer. It will track all of the events that are getting fired. And also on the right hand side, it will show you all of the possibilities of particular event that will happen with your customer, like your end user, depending on AI. Last one is AI monitor. It is artificial intelligence monitor. So, if you want to know how user interaction, how your interaction is getting interpreted by Discover, this is the best tool to debug that. This also needs UUID, so you have to add UID same and start monitoring, go to the website, start browsing your website, start moving here and there, and it will track all of the pages that you are going through. It will show you all of the events, all of the pages. It will also flag all of the pages that we have applied rules on, like Neha has already explained that we can boost, bury, or apply different things on the product. It will let you know if particular product is getting clicked by user, which is flagged. So it will help you to understand that whatever rule you have applied, whatever facets you have applied, whether they are correct or not. For example, if there is a product that you have buried, it is coming on like second page of product listing, but there are multiple consumers who are requesting the page, who are hitting the page, who are going on that product landing. So you can then change your decision, and instead of burying, you can actually boost that product to increase your revenue and increase the customer interaction. The last one is documentation. Sitecore does provide a very good documentation for integration and understanding Discover, and we have also different blogs and online videos that are available to integrate and understand Discover.
So with this, we come to the end of our session on Discover. We hope that you might not go on get started with the integration, but we hope that we gave you an idea of how to start, where to start. So as Mahima already mentioned that there's amazing documentation from Sitecore, and also a couple of people from our community have blogged about it. So we encourage you to go and reach out, refer those, and if you have any questions, I know we've got a queue about the time limit. So we need to rush, but if you have any questions, you can ask us right now, or maybe not right now, but after the session we would be available to answer any of those. We hope we made the good use of your 45 minutes, which turned into 55 minutes, I guess. So thank you everyone.
Thank you.
That was all.